Hi guys, I've got another fun page in my pocket page notebook, and this one is super similar to one I did not long ago, Silly Girl, in that I used the same paint splattery technique. So if you haven't seen that, I will link that up above here. But I created this paper the same way as the other one, except that this is on white cardstock and I used metallic watercolors. So if you haven't seen that video, here's a little snippet of how I created these papers. This was so fun. It's just watercolors. This is a metallic watercolor set and I'm just splattering them all over the page. This one I used just blues and I love the look of the metallic splatters. It's so pretty in real life. So I'm just going to trim this down to fit into my pocket page notebook, just deciding which parts of that splatter paper that I want to use. And again, I'm going to use both sides of it. One side is going into the pocket, so I do need to trim that just a tiny bit shorter than the actual paper side, just to make sure that the pocket folds over nicely. So I just slipped it in there to make sure it fit, but I am going to work on both sides of this paper, so I'm just going to push the notebook aside for a minute. And the same thing, I'm going to use the same Spencer Alpha from Citrus Twist because I'm basically obsessed with it now, you guys. It's so fun using these large letters, and I love not ever using up a letter. I guess I love large titles, but alphas and stuff, you know, I go through a bunch of them. So having these huge stamps is super fun because I can just stamp and stamp and stamp and I never run out. So I'm going to add my title across the left, but as you can see here, the word nearly is going to have to go across both sides, two pages, both sides. So I pulled off the L and the Y, and I'm just going to stamp near first because I don't want it to split. I don't want a letter to split over the join. So I'm making sure that the join goes in between, so the L and the Y are going to be on the right hand side. Now I'm using this super dark navy ink from Studio Calico, the Color Theory ink, and these inks do stain your clear stamps really badly. So you know I'm not normally a big one for cleaning stamps as I go, but when I'm using this ink I am making sure to clean it off straight away so as to avoid staining these stamps any worse than I have to. Now the rest of my title is going to fit on the left hand side, and I'm not sure if you can see, but the ink was sort of reacting, or I guess reactivating the watercolors underneath, so it gets this really nice effect. It's not stamping particularly opaquely, I guess. The stamps are a little bit blotchy, which I don't mind because it sort of goes with the messiness of the page, but where the ink is a little bit heavier, it is kind of reacting with the watercolor splotches underneath, and it gives it this really beautiful effect. So I was super pleased with that happy accident. So my title is 2 Nearly 3 because this page is again about my sister and her impending birth of my nephew. So we're a close little bunch here, and so for the two of us it's now going to be 3 of us. So I am very excited about that. This alpha set doesn't have punctuation. Obviously it's got the question mark and the exclamation mark, which you could then make a full stop, but it didn't have a comma, so I just used the end of one of those brackets and partially stamped that to get the comma. And you'll see me wave my inky little fingers there because although I was keeping my stamp super clean, my fingers did not end up quite as clean, and they were blue for at least 2 or 3 days after that. So if you have any tips for getting dark ink off your fingers, let me know. I was scrubbing those suckers for days and still blue. I am using the some Journal Studio ephemera pieces here, and I'm just sort of playing around with them. I found this Let's Do This, which I thought was perfect, and it went in the back of my photo really well. And you see me here, I've just thrown it to the side, it lands on top of my stamp, and when I lift it off, it peels off all the gold foil onto my stamp. I could have cried, I didn't. I threw the stamp away instead. And it kind of, I guess, looks a bit antique-y now, but I was really bummed that I ruined that gold foil. So, mental note, be careful with those sorts of things. So because that little ephemera piece fits nicely under my photo, I decided I would hide my journaling then under my photo, and I'm going to add this ephemera piece to the back of my photo as sort of a secondary title, so when you lift the photo it will have that little "let's do this," and then I'm going to add some journaling under there. And I went back through the ephemera pieces to see if there was anything the right sort of shape or style to put some journaling on, and I couldn't really find anything. There were a couple of smaller title-y little word sort of things, but nothing block shaped, so I just went and grabbed an old journaling card. I think this is from Ellie's Studio. They're just those blank journal cards. Because my photo was 3x3, I knew if I could trim the top off it, it would fit perfectly underneath, which is what I do. And then I'm just going to go ahead and just handwrite my journaling because it's not going to be seen, so I don't mind my handwriting there. The last thing I want to add is just a few of these Journal Studio puffy stickers, and I'm literally only adding 3. There was this little blue phrase and then a couple of blue butterflies, just trying to keep everything sort of monochromatic like that. Now I realized that because I've added my journaling on the right hand side, and that was the side that I had planned to go in the pocket, I had to flip the page over so that my left hand side goes in the pocket, but I did trim that right hand side to fit the pocket, so it is slightly too short for the page, but I'm just gonna have to learn to live with it because I need to be able to get into the journaling. And that's this page. I really love it. I love that you can see here the colors of the splatters and how they reacted with the ink. It's just a really beautiful textural page. And I love that I've got a story in there, but it's not taking a center stage. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, there's a couple more videos on screen. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye guys.